Hey guys, I'm Alex Pierce, and today I'm going to be showing you how to navigate in Blender like you do in Unreal or Unity, where you hold down the right mouse button, you can look around, WASD to move here, and instead of using GSR, you can use W to grab or to move, E to rotate, and R to scale, just like most programs that are out there. There are a few options out there that exist that do similar things. One is called B for Artists. You can go check it out. And there's another one I found on GitHub that was really interesting, but the person who developed it basically used tried to make Blender look exactly like Unreal, including changing the font and changing the windows, and some of the add-ons didn't work, and even just opening it would crash. So I don't really recommend that. B for Artists is also very interesting, but everything about Blender is different in B for Artists, so it's not really helpful when you try to learn. If you go to a tutorial or you look on the Blender menu, like what is this shortcut, what's that shortcut, you can't find anything. So I've basically just changed the navigation and GSR to be WER and left everything else as is for now. If you guys want me to look into changing some other things, I'm happy to look into it. But yeah, so I'll say that if you go to Edit, Preferences, and then Keymap, this is where you have your different options, and you won't have all these. Some of these are ones that I created, but you'll have Blender 2.7, and Industry Compatible, and it should be as easy as choosing Industry Compatible, and then you should be able to do it, but that's not the case. And then even then, it should be that you don't have to actually do any Python scripting to create this walk around, but you actually do. So just take my word for it, and if you like this, just download the one that I'll provide in the description. To install this navigation, all you have to do is download the file. It's a Python script, and go to Preferences, then go down to your Keymap section, and then here you choose Import, and then you navigate to wherever you downloaded it. I just put it on here for the test, and it'll be called GameEngine.py, and then push Import. And then now, anytime you open up Blender, you'll have this as an option, so you can choose this. And if you want to save this as your default, all you have to do is choose Save Startup File with whatever you want as your startup file. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what's different. So obviously you can't use GS and R. Obviously you can't use right mouse to open the context menu. So the only things that are really different, let's see if I can remember these. So if you want to get the right click, the normal right click function to bring up the object context menu, you can hold down Alt and then push right click. For some reason this isn't my shortcut thing is not working here. Let's try it again. Okay, there, now it seems to be working. All right. So Alt and right click will bring up the context menu, and this is basically true anywhere where right click doesn't work. If you try to right click and nothing happens, try Alt right click, and it should bring up the context menu. The other thing is, if you're in edit mode, this is you can still use WASD, but one of the things I had to do was change E. So normally E would extrude, but if I push E right now, it's going to rotate. So you just do Control E to extrude. Let me grab a few so you can see them. Control E will extrude. See, and Control E is the shortcut in Maya. So I feel like that's a good. It was an okay change. It was a necessary change. But this should also work in every mode. So in UV editing, for instance, if you wanted to move all these, instead of pushing G, you'd push W. And if you wanted to rotate, push E, scale, push R. If you want it to be faster or slower, the way you change that is you go to Edit, Preferences, and then under Navigation, this is where you can change the sensitivity. So if you go down here, this will be closed by default. You can change walk, and then you can change the walk speed here and mouse sensitivity here. So mouse sensitivity, just like it sounds, when you turn your head, it'll be a lot faster if you do that way. I'm going to turn that back down to 1 because that's crazy. And then walk speed, same thing. If you by default you'll move faster. If you middle mouse click, now you will pan instead of rotate. So if you hold down middle mouse, you can pan left and right or up and down. And if you click Shift middle mouse, you can orbit around like you would the old Blender way of just using the middle mouse. So if you haven't worked with the gizmos before, you can turn them on up here. So this is in 2.8 or 2.9, I believe. So so even if you don't use this navigation, you can turn on the gizmos. But basically, the gizmos work like most programs. If you select them in the middle, you can drag it along any axis. If you click on the blue, you'll move up and down. Red will move right and left. Let's see, green you'll move back and forward. And then that goes for all these different options. So for rotate, if you just grab it in the middle, it'll just grab it. You can rotate it anyway. If you grab on the green one, you can rotate this way, red and blue. And same with scale. If you want to scale the whole thing, you can just scale anywhere in this big one, the big circle. If you want to scale just along one of the axes, you just grab the corresponding axes. So I've changed Q to do nothing because Q used to open up the quick shortcuts menu, and I did use that a lot. But especially if you don't have lights on your keyboard and it's dark, it's too easy to accidentally hit Q. And in Unreal and in Unity, neither one of them have a Q shortcut. So I just figured I would just disable that. So the last thing that I changed in this particular key map is instead of pushing the number pad period to focus, you push the F. So just like you would in Unreal and I think Unity as well, if you push F, it'll focus on whatever you have selected. So whether that's a vertice or that's an object, it'll focus on that. Let me know if you have any questions, and if you want me to continue to develop this further, I guess, I might be able to, but I don't really want to change this to look like Unreal. I think there's a lot of merit to having it be mostly Blender, but just the navigation be slightly different, because every program is going to have its way of doing things, and especially if you're trying to learn a software, it's going to be really difficult for a user to have this custom key map that no tutorials are using. Hopefully this is helpful, and take care.